Coming at your mouth with your blah blah blah. Zip your lip like a padlock. And meet me in the back with a jack of the jukebox. I don't really care where you live at. Just turn around, boy, let me get that. Don't be a little chick with your chit chat. Just show me your arm.
Is Kesha's blah 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 just a wild party anthem or a bold statement about gender and power in pop music? Let's break down what this glitter-soaked track was really saying beneath all the chaos. Back in 2010, Kesha was like everywhere with her wild, loud, and unapologetic vibe. Her first single, TikTok, went crazy in 2009, topping charts globally and setting the tone for an era of freewheeling, glitter-strewn youth culture. As the globe celebrated dancing to her songs, many overlooked the cutting humor and conscious rebelliousness under the party girl persona she projected. Kesha wasn't merely singing about dancing and drinking, she was resisting what pop stars, particularly female pop stars, were supposed to say. Released in 2010, Blah 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 stormed the charts, hitting the top 10 in multiple countries and going 3 times platinum in the US. It became another club hit, a song you couldn't escape at parties, bars, or radio stations. But while most listeners danced to the beat, few realized that Kesha wasn't just singing about meaningless hookups. She was flipping the script on how women were represented in pop music. The song's origin story is actually as interesting as its message. During a studio session with producers Benny Blanco, Sean Foreman from 30H3, and songwriter Neon Hitch, a debate broke out. The conversation? Who talks more, men or women? Who's more obnoxious? The guys, jokingly, argued that women talk too much, always rambling about unnecessary things. Kesha and Neon weren't having it. According to Kesha herself, the song came about when we were in the studio and the guys were talking about how chicks talk too much, and me and Neon were like, no, guys talk too much. And from that simple exchange came a song that was both hilariously bold and quietly revolutionary. Kesha decided to take the idea of men being the loud, overconfident talkers and turn it right back on them. The result? A track that sounds like a fun, raunchy dance number, but underneath, it's a middle finger to double standards in pop culture. When you listen closely to Blah Blah Blah, it's not just a catchy party track, it's a deliberate parody of how men have historically objectified women in music. Kesha flips the narrative. Instead of being the girl objectified in lyrics, she's the one doing the objectifying. In one of the song's most infamous lines, she sings, "Don't be a little bitch with your chit-chat, just show me where your dick's at." It's crude, it's shocking, and it's completely intentional. This line, and others in the song, reflect the same sort of objectifying language women have endured for decades in hip-hop and pop songs. But here, Kesha is using it satirically, as a mockery to point out how ridiculous and normalized that objectification has grown. By reversing the script, she highlights the double standard of how society regards male versus female sexual expression. When males sing about lust, domination, and desire, they're hailed as assertive and strong. But when a woman does it, she's vilified as crude or too much. Kesha's decision to transgress that boundary wasn't coincidental. It was an intentional statement. In her autobiography, My Crazy Beautiful Life, Kesha later confirmed that Blah 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 wasn't just another wild night anthem, it was a message. She wrote, "It was a conscious move to talk about men like they talked about women." That's what makes the song so fascinating. It's not trying to hide behind metaphors or soft language. It's loud, brash, and unapologetic because the message itself is about claiming power in a space that often silences women. The song's feminist undertones are undeniable. Kesha wasn't just mocking the way men talk, she was reclaiming her voice. She was saying that women could own their sexuality, speak crudely if they wanted, and not be judged for it. It was pop feminism in its most glittery, chaotic form, fun, irreverent, but deeply intentional. Visually, the Blah 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 music video reinforces this same message. It opens with Kesha confidently walking through a cityscape filled with men who can't stop staring at her. Kesha totally flipped the script with Blah Blah Blah. Instead of being the girl sung about in songs, she became the one doing the objectifying. Like in that line, "Don't be a little whine with your virgin Converse, just show me where your gumshoe's at." It's in your face, and that's the whole point. That line, and others, echoes the same objectifying stuff women have dealt with for ages in hip-hop and pop. But Kesha uses it as a joke, poking fun at how normal it's become. By flipping the roles, she shines a light on the double standard of how we see male versus female sexuality. Guys sing about lust and power, and they're seen as strong, but when a woman does it, she's labeled as trashy or too much. Kesha broke that wall on purpose. In her book, My Crazy Beautiful Life, Kesha said that Blah 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 wasn't just a party song, it was a message. She wrote, "It was a conscious move to talk about men like they talked about women." That's what makes the song work. It doesn't try to soften the message. It's loud and in your face because it aims to take power in a space that often shuts women down. The song's female power vibes are clear. Kesha wasn't just making fun of how men talk. She was getting her voice back. She said women can enjoy themselves, talk trash if they want to, and not be judged for it. It was female power at its most fun, wild, and on purpose. The music video for Blah 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 backs up this message. It starts with Kesha walking confidently through a city full of guys who can't stop staring. But unlike most pop videos where women are just objects for guys to look at, Kesha turns that upside down. Any guy who comes at her with cheesy lines or over-the-top moves gets laughed at or brushed off. The video becomes a funny take on unwanted attention from men. There's this scene where Kesha makes guys eat their hair extensions. It's goofy, like a cartoon, and it takes away their swagger. It's her saying, "I'm not buying what you're selling." The joke is in your face, but the message is serious. It's about saying no to the idea that women have to put up with stuff they don't want to for the sake of men. Blah 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 hit people in different ways, and that's why it mattered. It blew up in clubs, fans loved dancing to it, and it made Kesha a pop wild child. But critics were split. Some loved how bold and cool it was, calling it a fun anthem for a new generation. Others called it fake feminist or trash pop, saying Kesha cared more about shock than anything else. But that debate is part of the point. It made people uneasy. It made listeners think about why a woman hitting on men in the same raunchy way men have talked about women for ages felt wrong to some. Why was Kesha gross when male artists had said way worse for years? That's the talk Kesha wanted to start. She didn't aim to be nice or sweet. She wanted to fight the double standard head on. And by doing that, she opened the door for a new group of women artists to be honest, loud, and in charge of their own stories. You can see hints of that in people like Miley Cyrus, Doja Cat, and even Lizzo, women who mix fun, coitus, and social comments to make their mark on pop culture. Musically, Blah 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 also meant something for Kesha's sound. The lyrics were wild, but the music was loud, mixing electropop beats with sharp lyrics and a rap vibe. Having 303 on the track was like an extra layer of irony. Here were two guys known for their cocky, objectifying lyrics, now backing a woman who turned their whole style upside down. It was fun payback served with a wink and a ton of glitter. More than 10 years later, Blah 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 still gets people talking. In reviews and studies about gender stuff in the media, the song is still a moment in pop feminism, a track that uses humor to shine a light on double standards. As we wrestle with issues like gender roles and equality, the song's message feels even more relevant now. Kesha has changed over the years, going from a party girl to a more soulful artist talking about trauma and being in charge. But even in her early work, you can see where that was headed. Blah 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 may have sounded like a basic club hit. Put down at its core, it was a form of resistance, a glitter-covered kick against how women were supposed to act in the business. Kesha's approach was brilliant because it was so two-sided. She took something as simple as a dance song and gave it a deeper meaning. She knew people would label her a party girl and used that idea to her advantage, making fun of, teasing, and finally taking back power through her words. Years later, the song marks a key moment in pop culture. It's wild, loud, and a bit out of line, much like working on down social norms, but it's also smart, fun, and more meaningful than we thought. In Kesha's world, Blah 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 wasn't just noise. It was a woman finally taking control of the chat. So what do you think? Was Blah 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 just a wild party track or a clever act of rebellion? Tell me in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. See you in the next video.